I'm Derek Mazzoni. Welcome to Sama, Seattle Sacred Music and Art. We are live streaming weekly. I'm in my home, obviously, because we're in the middle of a pandemic. It is the holiday season. As here, other places maybe not so, but it is the holiday season here. So I wanted to do something on Christmas Eve. And this is an ensemble that I've been a fan of for a while. If you are into classical music, religious music, traditional music in Western and Eastern traditional music and classical music in the Pacific Northwest, you probably know them. They are Cappella Romana. It's a professional vocal ensemble that performs early and contemporary sacred classical music in the Christian traditions of East and West. The ensemble is known especially for its presentations and recordings of medieval Byzantine chant, the Eastern sibling of Gregorian chant, Greek and Russian Orthodox choral works, and other sacred music that express the historic traditions of a unified Christian inheritance. They're ideal for the broader intention of Sama, to create an opportunity for people to have their hearts opened, to have their souls enlivened, especially as a balm going through the times that we're in right now. We have two guests from this ensemble. We have Alexander Lingus, Dr. Alexander Lingus. He's the musical director and founder of Cappella Romana. He's live right now from Oxfordshire in England. And also Benedict Sheehan. He's the director of music at Saint Tikhon Seminary and Monastery in Pennsylvania. He is the artistic director of the professional vocal ensemble, the Saint Tikhon Choir, and CEO and co-founder of the Artifact Institute, a collective of culture creators. I like that, how that works. Welcome, Benedict. Welcome, Alexander. Welcome to Sama.
It's great to be
Lovely to be here.
How are you guys doing? How are you surviving?
Well, as well as possible, I think, given the circumstances. You know, here in the UK, we've just had new restrictions of various sorts, so it's put a bit of a damper on the Christmas plans. But otherwise, things are going to go just fine, I think, for us, I hope, God willing.
God willing. How about you, Benedict?
I honestly can't complain. I mean, I live and work at a monastery and seminary, and life kind of has to continue here in the midst of everything. So I still have a job, which is great. And,
This is true.
And I still have plenty to do, and yeah, so thank God we're
Perfect.
doing fine.
It's intriguing to me because I was thinking of this in the context of the art form that you work with, and that is the voice. And this is such an interesting and cosmic, where the tool that you are using, voice, is the thing that people are most scared of. And, you know, everybody's covered with a mask, and you can't play together. It's like, it's one thing if you're far apart, if you're just like, you know, running a bow across strings or even playing percussion, but your voice, the thing that gives you, that is the art form which reaches you, creates an opportunity for you to express yourself and to reach an audience with that, is the thing that you can't use right now. How does that feel?
I guess I can start with that. I can start with that also as speaking as as one who's always had a hard time trying to use his own voice, as your audience can probably tell already. I speak with a stutter. It's something that's been with me all my life, and I usually explain to people that I do it deliberately to get attention, which is a joke, but it also is, I don't know. It's some days it does feel like that, but yeah. So I think it's. So I just wanted to point out that it's not your imagination. So to answer what you asked, I thought a lot about that. I think it's really interesting, like, 'cause the ability to communicate by speech is so fundamental to what humanity is, and it's actually been speculated that we as we evolve, that we actually sang before we spoke. We actually made musical sounds before these things were formed into words. And so singing is so fun. I believe is really part of what it means to be human. It's part of our humanity in a really deep way, which I think therefore means it's something, with anything fundamental, it's a powerful thing, and anything that's powerful is also very dangerous. So I think that's true on a metaphysical level, but we're also seeing now that it's true just on a basic medical level at the same time. So to me, it seems like in some way it's no surprise that the most dangerous thing we can do right now is to sing together, because I think that's always been in some way the most powerful thing we can do to get together.
What about you, Alexander?
Well, it's been a mixed experience. Certainly, the thing I miss the most is making vocal music together with my colleagues, with my students at City University of London, and those are the things that I haven't been able to do. I have had some Some other sorts of blessings here and there when the churches were shut here in the UK. I went through the whole Lenten cycle of services in lockdown here with my teenage daughter, who is a wonderful singer, and so we chanted sometimes full Byzantine offices. So we went through Holy Week that way. And then since then, once we've been sort of in and out of lockdown, it's last Sunday I was in Oxford chanting Byzantine chant for 2 hours through a mask. So with the doors open to a very cold English winter. So I've had sort of all ends of the spectrum, except for singing together, which my friends and colleagues, though, in Portland, from whom I've been separated because I can't cross the Atlantic right now, they did get together, though, very recently and did a Christmas broadcast. They all had the testing and so on. And I understand from them that it was a very emotional experience to be able finally to be together again and doing what they do. And I look forward to joining them.
Benedict, I have to ask you a question because it's obviously you have a stutter, and you're representing the stuttering community here right now. Your choice of work, shall we say, is intriguing, because it's almost like a biblical tale. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to work in this space where the voice is used to create a transcendent experience on such a level, and yet here you are, working with certain I don't want to say limitations, but challenges.
Oh, certainly.
And yet you're creating this powerful work. How did you come to this path?
Wow. It's a very long story, I suppose. I mean, I think I would give two answers. One is that at some point I had to decide that being a stutterer couldn't be a thing that would stop me from doing what I wanted to do and saying what I wanted to say. I would certainly say that in terms of the way stuttering research has evolved over the last couple decades, it's moved quite a bit more towards, in a sense, trying to destigmatize it rather than trying to cure it, because it's not, medically speaking, it's not a disease. It's not pathology in the way other kind of speech impediments are. So. And a lot of what actually you see as the symptoms of stuttering have to do with the way that a stutterer believes themselves to be perceived, the attempt to anticipate a block and trying to avoid it. I mean, all these things. It's very complicated. So at some point I had to decide, and I had great speech therapy from the American Institute for Stuttering, which really helped me to say, like, basically, this is what I do. It's probably not going to change in a big way, and so just say what you want to say and do what you want to do, and be open about it. So that's part of it. I would say on the other end of it, it's interesting. I mean, so I don't stutter like a lot of stutterers. I don't stutter when I sing, and particularly when I sing with others. So that somehow maybe it drew me into choral music in some way. But it's also as a conductor and a composer, in a sense, I have a lot of things I want to say. I have a lot of, I want to articulate myself in a very specific way that I can't do when I talk. But I found an outlet in my gesture. I found an outlet in my work as a composer. So in some way, it's given me a sense of, like, I might not be able to talk the way I want to or say the things I want to say, but I can when I do these things. So maybe there's that too. I don't know. I think the one to ask about it would be my wife, who is a great observer of me. So, but that's probably the best I can come up with.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect. It's just, as I was watching and listening to you, I was like, wow, that's a serious path that you're on. And thank you for sharing this on this Christmas Eve with us here. Now that we're so separate and alone, away from each other because of the reality of the pandemic, yet at the same time we're connecting. Right now this is magical that we're communicating and doing this program, not being in the same room together in real time. These types of musical artistic expressions, knowing that they have a history, knowing that there is a component of transformation and change. And once you step away from the politics of it, knowing that we're all human beings and knowing that we've been working on this art form and borrowing from each other. I think that's the magical thing about music and art, is that, like, you're going to work together. You're going to hear something, you're going to adopt it. It's not like, no, that's not. And that might be a great metaphor for the future that we're all hoping we will have, where these petty differences kind of slip away, and the beauty of all of us as human beings striving for our children and our grandchildren and the world in general to be better. This could be one of those times where this knowledge and this learning can help us and guide us in the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Very much so. I think that sometimes it's modern ideologies, it's modern nationalism in many ways that has divided people musically in ways that they weren't before, where, say, for the Ottomans, you had Greeks and Jews and Armenians providing Ottoman court music as well as Muslims. And that people listened to each other and heard each other, and this is true at various other points in history as well. Some of that Cappella has explored Greeks under Italian rule, for example, or the Italians who came to work for Catherine the Great in St. Petersburg. I mean, there are all these particular moments of cultural contact, creating things that go far beyond any sort of simple, cheap appropriation, that these things are become indigenized and culturated and form a basis for further artistic creation.